Hey guys, it's Jane. It's Tuesday today, and I'm going to do a Tuesday Talks. Today's Tuesday Talks topic is who's your favourite author and why? Now, the Tuesday Talks group is a group on Goodreads that lists topics for discussion every week. If you want to join in, you can do it on your YouTube channel or your book blog, or just comment in the Goodreads group. So I'll link them down below if you want to get in on the action. My favourite author, as I'm sure you're all terribly surprised to learn, is Neal Stephenson. And I'm just going to take the opportunity today to run through a few reasons why he is my favourite author. I've actually made a list. I've made a list, people. Here's my list. Here we go. I've got 10 reasons and a bonus reason. So let's see how quickly we can get through this. Number 1, he writes different sorts of stories. So he writes near future, far future, historical epics, things set in secondary worlds, and he even has released one which is pretty much set in the present day, Reamdy. I am a varied reader by choice, and so I love that he writes different sorts of things, not just all the same sort of thing. Second reason, his books stand up to rereading. In fact, right at the moment, I'm rereading Anathem. Let me show you. Anathem, I'm about a third of the way through. And this is a book that I actually was a little bit disappointed in first time I read it. I was, as I always am when there's a new Neal Stephenson coming out, super excited about it in prospect. And on first read through, I wasn't that thrilled. But you know what? I have reread it and reread it since then, and I get more out of it every time. So that is another reason why I love Neal Stephenson. Thirdly, although his books are different sorts of stories, they have things that are the same. And basically the core of a Neal Stephenson story is almost always a set of ideas and the way that a group of people are affected by those ideas. It's never just ideas in the abstract. It's always people interacting with those ideas and being affected by those ideas. And that heart of his stories really speaks to me. The fourth reason I've got for loving Neal Stephenson are the kind of heroes that he writes. His heroes are almost always intelligent, but with no particular superpowers, and I don't even mean that in a kind of superhero sort of way. Like, they don't have any special access to things. They just have, you know, what they figure out on their own. They're often people who are socially disadvantaged in one way or another, but they work stuff out. The fifth reason that I love his books is that these people, his heroes, work in groups. Almost always they work in groups, and that is something that's quite specific about Neal Stephenson and that I love. He gets a group of people together, and together they figure it out and save the world. They can't do it all on their own. The sixth reason that I've written down is the way that he writes women. Now, Neal Stephenson is a dude, right? And his stories aren't super abundantly overwhelmed by women, but they're there. And the women that are there are written like people. They actually feel like real people. They're not just women. The seventh reason that I've written down is adventure. Almost always in his books, the characters need to go on some sort of crazy adventure. And as we have firmly established this week, I am at heart a 10-year-old boy and I love adventure stories. Okay, number 8. Faith, the way faith is handled in his books. Now, I have no access to any information about Neal Stephenson as a person beyond what he writes. I don't know if he has any kind of faith alignment or not, but in his books, faith is not ignored, and that is a very common thing in modern fiction, and especially speculative fiction. Faith is kind of ignored, or the alternative is people of faith are treated like they're idiots. And in Neal Stephenson's books, faith is treated like it's just a normal part of human experience. Not everybody has a particular faith alignment, but those characters that do are not seen as being idiots as a result of that, and I really appreciate that. The ninth reason that I've chosen about Neal Stephenson is there are moments in his stories where he breaks away from the grand big picture and he comes down into the micro, and he just has this way of doing like super accurate small scale social observation. There's this thing in Reamdi about recombinant food, recombinant cuisine, that is just hilarious, and it completely describes the cooking that I experienced growing up. So if you've read that book, you'll know what I'm talking about. The 10th reason that I have got for loving Neal Stephenson is that in his stories, the good guys win. Now, I know that this is not necessarily true to life, but I agree with Oscar Wilde. This is what fiction is. The good end happily and the bad unhappily, right? That is what I'm looking for when I read a book. Every so often, I'm happy to, have my illusions shattered or whatever, but fundamentally, I'm rooting for the good guys and I want them to win. I want them to win more often than they don't win, and that is what happens in a Neal Stephenson book. And the bonus reason that I love Neal Stephenson is the man is funny. The books are not comedies, but man, is he funny. Let me read you just a snippet of the part of Anathem that I got up to this morning, which got me chuckling as I stepped out of bed. "Well, I'm really sorry. Just stop," she suggested. "If there's anything I can do, if you'd like to join the math you just got thrown out of, I'm just saying, if there's anything I can do to make it up to you, give me an adventure." In the moment that followed, Claude realised that this sounded weird and she lost her nerve. She held up her hands. "Look, I'm not talking about some massive adventure. Just something that would make getting fired seem small. Something that I might remember when I'm old." Now, for the first time, I reviewed everything that had happened in the last 12 hours, and it made me a little dizzy. "Raz," she said after a while. "I can't predict the future," I said. "But based on what little I know so far, I'm afraid that it has to be a massive adventure or nothing." "Great!" "Probably the kind of adventure that ends in a mass burial." That quieted her down a little bit. But after a while she said, "Do you need transportation? Tools? Stuff?" "Our opponent is an alien starship packed with atomic bombs," I said. "We have a protractor." This is why Neal Stephenson is my favourite author. Okay, guys, if any of you have read Neal Stephenson, I'd love to hear you talk about it in the comments below, or if not, can you tell me about your favourite author? I hope you're well, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!